means gymno here naked. The gymno means naked. The sperma means seed. So naked seeded plants. Gymnosperms, which is kind by the theophaster, which is obtained from the two Greek words. That is, gymno means naked, and the sperma means seed. Okay. So these plants possess only the seed, but fruit found is absent. Only means that the seeds are directly exposed to the environment. There is no fruit and there is no envelope. So the seeds are directly exposed. So the gymnosperms are very ancient group of seed plants, and most probably they are dominantly in the upper Devonian period. Okay, they are the dominantly upper Devonian period, and they are widely spread in the north temperate to sub-Arctic regions. Arctic regions, there are also great economic importance in valuable timber, wood, and wood pulp resins and other uses also. So some important characters are there. What are the important characters? Means gymnosperms is constituted in the world dominant vegetation during the upper Paleozoic and Mesozoic era. So they are the long fossil history. Okay, long fossil history is there, and they better represent during the geological past, and eventually many became extinct. The gymnosperms do not inhabit all environments. They are mainly distributed in the temperate and subarctic regions of the world. In the world, the living gymnosperms around 20 genera are there. Around 760, 780 species are there. So these living gymnosperms is represented by the cycadales, coniferales, taxales, and ginkgoales and nettles members are there. The cycadales and ginkgoales are in the present surviving number of extremely ancient group. So the bulk of the modern gymnosperms are represented by the member of coniferales, particularly the family, the Pinaceae, and they show distinct geological geographical distribution. So cycadales are represented by 11 genera and 181 species are there. Among the 11 genera, are present the cycadales, cycas, only one group is represented by India. Some gymnosperms is the Sequoia and temperances and quadrances. So India is the coniferous mainly distributed in the eastern and western Himalaya. So India coniferous is represented by the apis, cedrus, larix, and pinus. This is the sagar and what is the Cephalotaxus and Cupressus, juniferans and Podocarpus taxus also there. Okay. So these are the some characters and distribution around India. So these gymnosperms are a cone-like means coniferous means there are look a pointed development is there, pointed shape development. Okay. So this and what is the vegetative characters here? The gymnosperms are especially there are the xerophytic and evergreen woody. Okay. There are the woody nature is there. Arborescent of the shrub perennial. Perennial means they are the number of years. Okay. The coniferous are often attaining the pyramidal shape are mostly gigantic forest trees living of about the few hundred years. The redwood trees of California and the sequoia, that is the sequoia sempervensis. There are 150, 140 meter height is there. Okay. The gymnast are mostly evergreen. However, a few conifers like Laria, and Taxodium, there are the deciduous forests also. The deciduous trees, nothing but forest. Okay. So these cycles, the young leaves shows the cutinized veneration and the typical pteridophyte characters are there. The mesophilous leaves with a or without palisade tissues are there. Okay. The foliar bundles, diploxylic, the cycles number of collateral types of other the transport tissues uh, is the present in the leaves of many genera. So here, the secondary growth is common the gymnosperms resulting uh, in the profuse secondary xylem and sometimes the secondary phloem is there. So here, the secondary growth is commonly observed in the gymnosperms. Okay. So here, the monozylic wood is and pygnozylic wood is there. The secondary wood in gymnosperms, here two types of the woods are there. That is the monozylic and pygnozylic wood. So monozylic wood means there is the very smooth wood is there. Brackets are not present and fibers are not. The early wood is monozylic, and the pygnozylic wood is means there are the fibers and very important in the pygnozylic wood. This is very hard and narrow rays are there. Okay, means the monozylic wood is have parenchymatous tissue, xylem parenchyma is there. But in the pygnodylic wood, there is no xylem parenchyma and the fibers and tracheids are there. This is very economically important. So the pygnozylic wood may be good commercial timber. The xylem is gymnosperms made up of the tracheids and some xylem parenchyma. So here the vessels are absent in the gymnosperm. Instead of the vessels, here uh, the albuminous cells are there. Okay. So next one is the reproductive structure. Here, the gymnosperms are reproduced by the cones only. Means there looks like a cone-like structures are there. See this one, the cycad plant. So the gymnosperms are unisexual and maybe the dioecious or monoecious. Microspores called pollen grains, they are produced in the microsporangia on the microspills. The microspores are generally arranged on the male cone. Another one is the megaspores are produced in the megasporophylls, which are arranged on the female cones only. In Cycas, ginkgos, and taxus, the female cones are absent. Okay. These microphylls may be broad and foliage and petiole. There are the microsporangia, group of many adaxial surfaces of the microspills are. Okay. Each microsporangium develops into eusporangiate manner and contain the numerous small microspores are there. That is what the pollen grain. Okay. So in the what are here? The megasporangium is also there. The megasporangium which is the epidermal layer, 2 to 4 archosporial cells develop into the epidermis. The archosporial cells divide or predominantly to form the outer primary peritoneal layer and inner primary sporogenous mother cell. Because these sporogenous mother cells undergoes to meiosis to form the 4 haploid nucleotetrasphoreous character. So, for the after fertilization means the pollens are liberated to fuse with the egg and to form the embryo. So, in the gymnosperms, nuclear development means embryo nuclear here. Okay. In the pre-nuclear divisions are occurred. So, pre-nucleus is there. That's why there is the number of nucleus are developed. The cycadels around the please keep the mute all of you. The the cycadels around 252,000 free nuclear phases are occurred. Okay, so this is a special character in the free nuclear division. So after the classification, okay. So here the gymnosperms proposed the various classifications are there. The Arnold. The first of all is Arnold is gymnosperms planted treated under the division of Pteropsida. So these Pteropsida were classified in the 3 classes, that is the Cycadophyta, Coniferophyta, and Chlamydospermophyta. So after the Panth is divide the gymnosperm into 3 divisions are there, that is the Cycadophyta, Coniferophyta, and Chlamydospermophyta. So this is also some not clearances are there. So after Sporne in 1965, this is the gymnosperms are categorized into 3 classes are there. That is the Cycadopsida, Coniferopsida, and Neotopsida. Sporne in 1956, 65. In 1965, here is Sporne is classified into 3 classes are there. That is Cycadopsida, Coniferopsida, and Neotopsida. This Cycadopsida is characterized by the monozylic wood and large frond-like foliage and mostly radially symmetrical seeds are there. Coniferopsida, on the other hand, which is pygnozylic wood and simple needle-like paddle-shaped or fawn-shaped leaves are there. But here, Neotopsida, there are secondary wood with the vessels and flowers with the perianth. The flowers are recognized into inflorescence or compound shrubby. There are there. The Sporne classification. This is very important in your exam point of view. So Sporne classification here, class 1, the Cycadopsida. So here the 4 orders are there. The order 1 is the Pteridospermales and order 2 Benititales and order 3. Sorry. Order is the Pentosylales and Cycadales. And another one is the class Coniferopsida. That is the Chordales and Coniferales. And another one is the Taxales, and fourth one is the Ginkgoales. The class 3, that is the Neotopsida. Here order only the Neotales order is there. Okay. So some economic importance of gymnosperms. Economically, the gymnosperms are very useful. So the wood or timber yielding plants are there. So most of the gymnosperms are here mainly used in the economically means for timber pinus, for example, pinus and Podocarpus cedrus. This one is mainly used. Okay. And They are valuable use. And next one is the paper industry. Here, the wood pulp of the various coniferous used in the different types of the paper manufacturing industries are there. So, for example, abyss and pinus and the pseudolarix, these are used in the paper industry. Some resins also. Okay, some resins also used in the from the gymnosperm. Then copals are a group of resins obtained from the both living and fossil trees are there. Okay, different amber and Canada balsam. This is very economically is most important Canada balsam. So this Canada balsam is prepared from the IBS balsamia. This is mounting media and the microscopic preparation. Okay, and some tannins and essential oils also is obtained from the gymnosperm. Okay. So some members are asking the number here. So gymnosperms used as a food. The roasted seeds of several gymnosperms they are used as a food. For example, ginkgo and neem ula. So some species of cycas they are really commercially important starch like sago. The sago is very commercially used. This is the food. A sugary secretion extracted from the hardwood of the Pinus librantia. Because they call it the sugar pine is used as a substitute of the sugar. So some leaves, cycas and neem used as the vegetables, and some beverage industry also use these gymnosperms. Some medicinal plants, ephedra. Ephedra is the ephedrine, which is the alkaloid is obtained from the ephedra. Economically means medicinal is more valuable. Taxol. Taxol compound is also obtained from the taxus. So which is curing the cancer disease. Okay. So some ornamentally plants also there. Ornamental plants means that is the cycas, ginkgo, and thuja, borea, and juniferous. These are used as the ornamental plants. Okay, so these citrus and araucaria. So araucarias, these are used as the Christmas tree plants for the ornamental plants. Okay, so next one we can see the pinus. So general characters and the economic importance. That is very important. Classification is also. Okay. So next one is the pinus. Here, this is the classification is the division is the gymnosperms and class is Coniferopsida. Order Coniferales and the family is Pinaceae and genus is the Pinus. There are about 18 genera are there, include the 18 genera. 200 species are there. This family is the characterized okay, brown and water. Okay. So here the spiral arranged on its parts are there means the oleferous scales and free scales and back scales are there. Two pollen spaces in each microphyls. There are the bi-winged pollen grains are two wing-like characters are there. You can see this one. So around the 90 species genus there are the widely spread out in the temperate and cold temperate regions in the northern hemisphere. What is the morphology? External morphology means the external feature. This is the stem, branches, and leaves are they can be differentiated. The stem of pinus is mostly large trees, reaching a height around the 70 to 200 feet height. And so some cones like there appear. The branching is monopodial and regular on the rule symmetrical. The branches arise laterally, brown. Yes. So here the roots is a typical taproot system is there, short-lived, and because there are three, often grows in shallow soil overlying the rocks. So here the on the roots, some mycorrhizas develop. Some fungi is develop that one we call as ectofloic mycorrhizal fungus. The fungus will develop on the roots. And branches, the branches is dimorphic branches are there. The branches of intermediate growth. Some long shoots are there and some drop shoots also there. Two types of the leaves shoots are there in the pinus. Long shoot and drop shoots. So these arise on the long shoot from the axis brown scale leaves and they exhibit very much limited growth because they are early the cessation of the activity of their apical buds are okay. So next one here, the leaves are very scale-like structures are there, needle-like structures. Okay, needle-like structures are there. The dot shoots, the cluster is defined depending on the number of varies from on the leaves are there. Next one is the internal structure. What is here? Internal structure. So young root and stem is also there. That is the so the internal structure of the root is resembled to the dicot root only. So which is the differentiated into epidermis and cortex and vascular bundles are there. So the piliferous layers arise from the peribulum, that is the ectofluic mycorrhiza is found. Means some hair-like structures are there upon the ectofluic mycorrhiza is there. The cortex is defined zone is parenchymal cell and present beneath the foliferous layers are there. This foliferous layers means is the mycorrhiza is there. Below the foliferous layers in the cortex is there, that is the parenchymal tissue and endodermis is also present in the lowermost layer. And the vascular bundles are there, that is the vascular bundles. The tetrarch condition is there, 2 to 4 exarch xylem stand alternate with the 2 to 4 phloem strands are there. So in the pinus is very important, so that is the needle structure, transverse section of the pinus needle. This one is very important in the theory as well as the practical also. You do the practical session means a transverse section in your practical. This one, pinus needle. We have the practical section cutting is there. So in the cross section is outlined. A needle shows the various different species. This is the pinus in monophylla. Needle is the circular in cross section. Some are the semicircular and triangular for there. So which is the differentiation to epidermis and mesophyll, and another one is the vascular bundles. Okay. So in the epidermis, which is a single layer, finest needle, the epidermis is a single layer and a thick wall, which is covered by a heavy cutinized layer is there. So why are here cutinized? These gymnosperms are the xerophytic character is there. So that's why a heavy cutinized is there. The stomata are uniformly distributed all in the sunken stomata. Sunken stomata means they are deeply and submerged on the mesophyll. Okay. And next one is the hypodermis. Below the epidermis, one or two layers of hypodermis is there, which is very thick cell wall, sclerenchyma cell. So next one is the mesophyll is composed of essentially thin-walled chlorophyllous and parenchymatous tissue. The inner wall of the mesophyll cells are drawn inwards to the form the page-like and broadly structures are. The presence of these peg-like ingrowths, the characteristic feature of the mesophylls of the pinus, these are increase the absorption and aeration and exciting the surface of the protoplate, each cell and component reduce the leaf surface. Next one is the endodermis, which is conspicuously the single layer and barrel shaped with a Casparian thickness are there. Okay. So here the albuminous cells and tracheids cells are present. The albuminous cells and the protein cells. These albuminous cells are the tracheids are resembled to the tracheids and radially elongated. So they are carry the fluids and xylem to the mesophils. So here vascular bundles means these vascular bundles are conjoined, collateral, and open vascular types are there. Okay, vascular bundle here conjoined, collateral, and open. This is the vascular bundles are there in the needle. Okay, is it clear? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the next one is the reproduction. Here, reproduction means they are reproduced. The male and female cones are there. So the pinus, the long should bear the some male cones and female cones also there. The pinus is the monoecious, means both and female means and male and female cones are born on the same plant, but the different branches are there. This is the monoecious character is there. So the male cones occur in the cluster in each in the axil of the scalar leaf on the terminal vegetative buds are there. Okay. There are the concentrated amidst the previous years of the foliage. These male cones and replace the drop shoot at the base of the developing buds and shoot of the current year. Okay. A male cone is avoid and the around the 34 centimeters in length. Very short stalk is there and central axis is present. On the central axis, there are about number of microsporophylls are there. They are spirally arranged on the axis. Upon the microspheres, they are triangular outline. They are look like means. See here, this is the structure of the this one is the male cone, longitudinal section of the male cone. So on the microsporophylls, the microsporangia is there. Within the microsporangia, the microspores are. So these microspores, each microspore is having the two wings are there. See here. winged microspores. Two winged microspores are there. Two lobes are there. Okay. So this is the special character of the microsporangia. Okay. The microspores are very what is here the outer exine and middle exointine and the innermost layer is there, intine is there. So the pollen of the pinus is bisulcate, means two winged character is there. So the wings of the each pollen grain form the separation of the outer part of the exine from its inner part. These wings are supported to help in the pollen dispersion. The pollen grains are heteropolar with the longitudinal furrow on the distal side. So these pollen grains are presently partially germinated before they are liberated. Okay. So the next one is the female. The female cone here. This is the female cone of the pinus. So female cone is larger and arises on the place of the long shoot only. So, 1 to 4 female cones arise in the axis of the brown scale leaf. The female cone is a small, erect, reddish green color with a elongated central axis also there. And very here also the female cone is also very short. Stalk is there and the central axis is there. Okay. The central axis they bear the megasporophylls. The megasporophylls they are to structure have the black scale and the oleferous scales are there. See here, what is the black scale means here, oleferous scale here. This is the, see here, in the below area, this is, so which are have the ovals that leaves we call as a oleferous scale. Ovals are present, that leaves are oleferous. Below the one appendage like structure is there, that is the black scale. The black scale, there is no ovals. Okay. So here the what is the here? The female cone of pinus has been one of the most thoroughly debated problems are there. There are the broadly speak on the two divergent aspects also there. So here, what is the oval? The development of the the development of the ovule starts only on the 1 year after the female cone is formed. The oval arises as a small hump of the cells developing on the upper surface. Mm. The these integments does not cover the oval compactly, but the leaves are small opening known as the microphyls, which are allow the pollen grains to come contact with the megasporangia. The integument and the nucleus together constitute the ovule. The nucleus, the nucleus shoot toward the microphylar ends and ovule, and soon initiate the development of fertile archisporial cells, which are the prominent in the size with a distinct nucleus in each other. So here, after the pollination are liberated from the microspores, microsporangia means the pollen is the anemophilous type. Means through wind only. The pollen sac adjacent leads to the pollen to reach the embryo, means ovule to fuse with each other and to form the embryo. Okay, this is the the finest development. Okay, is okay clear? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is the what happened. The finally the embryo will develop, and the embryo after embryo is formed like the seed. The development of the seed, the ovule after fertilization became the seed. The inner integument of the ovule is transferred the seed coat. The outer one is the flesh is the sarcotesta. So sarcotesta and middle one is the sclerotesta. So this is the seed again used to germinate a younger plant. Okay, this the pinus. In our pinus, this is a very important. That is the needle transfer section of the needle and male cone, female cones. Development of the male cone and female cones and gametophyte means the male gametophyte and female gametophyte. That one is important. Okay. The next topic is the needle. Okay. Next one is the needle. So needle plant is looks like a angiosperm plant. This is the needle. Is okay? Is it audible clear? Minus.
Sir.
Okay. So here the needle which is resembled to the angiospermic plant. The division is the gymnosperms, class is the Nitopsida, order is the Nitales, the family is Nitaceae, genus is the Nita. Okay. The family Nita is represented by the single genus that is the Nitum, is the tropical rainforest, which is distributed in the tropical rainforest area. So here reticulates bite India, Madi, bite India. Reticulate venation is there. The leaves are the presence of basils in the wood and presence of perianth on the male flower and tetrasporic embryo sac and the absence of archegonia are the significance in the some features of the family. So the Netum Niman fully grown the plant trees which are found in Jayantia and Arunachal Pradesh, hills of Assam and Manipur areas. So what is the external features? The sporophyte is the very dicotyledonal plant like it is resembled to the dicotyledonal plant. Some are the climbers, some are the anomalous secondary growth is also there. So here the branches are here two types are there. That is the long shoots which are unlimited growth and dark shoots are they are the limited growth. So here the leaves are very dorsiventral, simple and the extrapolated leaves are shortly petiole is there, broadly elliptical or over the entire margin is present. Venation is the reticulate venation is there. Okay. Here the internal structure of the that is the netum. In the stem structure here the secondary growth is there. So here the young steel means the primary structure of the stem means that is the epidermis, cortex, and vascular bundles are there. Means vascular bundles is nothing but steel. So epidermis is single layer and sunken stomata is there. Cortex maybe it is multi-layered and endodermis is also there and pericycle is also a single layered pericycle. Here steel is the U steel condition. U steel means yesterday we discussed that one. Vascular bundles are formed a ring-like structure circularly ring-like structures are there. Centrally one pit is there. That one we call as a U-shape. So here the vascular bundles are conjoined, collateral, and open vascular bundles are there. Okay. So here anomalous growth is there. The needle that shows the anomalous growth. See, the anomalous growth is how they are to develop the anomalous secondary growth here. See here, this one is the anomalous secondary growth. Means in woody climbing species such as Nitamula and Latifolium and Montana, the secondary growth is normal being but in the later stages, a successive rings can be developed in the deeper layer of the cortex within the form of the anomalous secondary growth. So here, they formed as an anomalous growth like this. This can be a cut of the secondary rings of phloem and xylem. The broad rays developed the secondary tissue so that is the distinct wedges shaped vascular bundles are seen. This first ring of cambium stops the function after some time. The second ring appear outside of the first ring cambium, stop functioning after some time. Like this, they are to form a ringlet structures are there. Their outwards growths are there. This process continues formation and successive rings. Sometimes these successive rings are incomplete and result to form of the eccentric rings are there. This is eccentric ring formations are there. Okay. So here leaf structure is not important in this point of view. In the reproduction system. This is the male cones are there, male inflorescence. The sporophyte of the needle is the dioecious. They are bear the male and female organs on the same plant, separate plants only. Okay, dioecious character are there. Okay. The reproductive organs are they are called as the shobali or cone, which are organized on the panicle type of inflorescence. See here, like this inflorescence. These panicles may be either single or a group in the axil of the paired leaves are there. So this is the male cone, male shobale. Male cone are nothing but male shobale. So it is consist on the elongated axis with the so here the axis is have the nodes and internodes also there. This is the nodes and internodes. So internodes are very short. The nodes bear number of scale bracts with a hole. These bracts fuse to form a connect the ring structure called and the tuple or the collar. The number of collar is correspond to be the number of nodes. So often the nodes may vary from 10 to 25 in number. So each collar at the node bears the 3 to 6 rings of male flowers are there. Each ring with the many male flowers are. The apical region of these cone is generally sterile. The male cone, when compactly covered, and the basal bracts are there. So here, male flower. The male flower is enclosed with a sheath like a perianth. It bears a stalk with two anthers at its apex. Each anther has a single microsporangia. This is the anther like structures are see here. Each anther has a single microsporangium. It matches with the stalk of the flower when closed by the perianther. Okay. And the male flowers are innerpret by the uniseriate and multiseriate cellular hairs also there. So here microsporangium. This is the microspore. The microsporangium, they are the hypodermal cells, anther lobes, and from the archisporial cells. So these archisporial cells to form the archisporium, and the archisporium tissue can divide the parietal shells and sporogenous tissue. The parietal cells undergoes to another periclinal division to form the outer wall and inner tapetal layer are there. The sporogenous tissues to divide to form the microspore mother cells. Okay, these microspore mother cells again divide to form the microspores. Okay, so here the microspores will complete the development and liberated to the envelope. So next one is the female cones. What is the female stabile here? This is the female stabile. So they are organized. The female cones are similar to the male cone, but in case of the only in the single ring here, 4 to 10 ovules are there above the collar. Okay. So after completion of these ovules and they developed as egg. Okay, this is the ovule, LS of the ovule. The outer integuments are there, perianth is present, and inner integument is to leave the a micropole tissue and which is entered into the egg. Okay. So after completion of the development, here the fertilization is there. After fertilization, here to form the seeds. This is the life cycle of the neta. Okay. So here polyembryony is present. Embryony in the netum, here polyembryony is there. Means number of free nuclear divisions are occurred like that pinus. Nuclear division is very essential in the gymnosperm. Free nuclear divisions are there. Okay. So here, so one of the two tubule divide into the 4 three cells are there. These tubules are called the primary suspended tubes. These are the variously coiled top of the tubes became the dense. Some of these tubes penetrate deep into the tissue of the endosperm and some in the very dense in structure. So lateral, these nuclear tip is the primary suspensor tubes and divided into the unequal nuclei. So that's why here free nuclear divisions are there, polyembryony. The each nuclei again to develop as the embryo. Okay, this is the specific character of the needle. The cells of secondary substance are involved uninucleate and binucleated. The cells at the top remain small with the dense cytoplasmic content and develop into the embryo proper. Now the primary suspensor cases to elongated with the secondary suspensor cells and embryo cells deep into the endosperm tissue. So finally the seed will be developed. Okay, Nandi. So here the outer layer and green in color and succulent seeds are also there. And the middle layer is very stony and composed most scleroid and fibers are there. Okay. This is hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay, count. So in the netum is the here the secondary growth. Old shoot transfer section is important, and the male and female cones and the embryo development. Here, embryo development, embryogeny. Pre-nuclear embryogeny is important in the liver. In the pinus needle, transfer section, and male and female cones, and embryo development, that also. Male and female gametophyte development in the pinus. Okay, not clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In the tomorrow class, we discuss the paleobotany is there, only last class tomorrow. Is okay?
Yes, sir.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for attending the class. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.